Data coding is an important step for research projects, especially qualitative research projects, because when we collect data uh, uh, from different participants through the use of different tools and instruments and different times, we may collect different levels and different data with different qualities and different levels of validity. Sometimes we may collect very helpful and correct data, and sometimes we may collect incorrect and useless data. That's why before coding, we have to process that data and use the data processing procedure, and after that we have to code the data, especially when we conduct qualitative studies for research projects, and we have when we collect qualitative data and we want to analyze our qualitative data. It's very difficult to analyze the collected data without coding. That's why we have to consider data coding as one of the most important aspects and stages and essential stages for qualitative data sets and qualitative data analysis. And we have to code our data based on the demands of our study and based on the some particular and helpful and valid coding procedures and coding types. Actually, when we code our data, we have some particular aspects and types of coding. We have pre-coding style and also post-coding, or we have some procedures that we use some ready codes. The codes are already used by some other researchers, or we have to code by ourselves our data collection procedures. But we have to decide based on our data collection procedure and based on our own research studies structure. If we use deductive coding procedure or inductive, if we use the existing codes, or we code based on the assessment of our own data, we have to decide based on the demands of our study. And also sometimes when we code, we use the initial coding procedure. That's when we start the analysis of data. We use some particular codes, then fix the different segments and portions of data based on those codes, especially in some areas like communication. When we collect the data in the field of intercultural communication, and we have particular aspects and issues to analyze, like intercultural communication competence, intercultural awareness, cultural awareness, and intercultural sensitivity. This we can use pre-coding system or initial coding procedure, because already we know the exact codes that we need to analyze the data based on the mentioned codes in our study. But when we do a particular study in a broad issue, or in some issue with open-ended interviews and open-ended data collection procedures, it's better to use inductive coding procedure or post-coding procedure, because we have to code the data after the evaluation of the answers, after the evaluation and assessment of the results, and code and produce codes based on the answers of participants and based on the results of our study. And also based on the assessment of our codes, we have to produce or categorize our codes. And through the assessment of our categories, we have to produce themes, because codes, categories, and themes help us to assess our data properly and divide our data based on the particular codes, categories, and themes, and answer well our research question. And also when we discuss based on our findings, when we divide when we code properly our the results, and also divide them into particular categories, and also again produce or develop themes, we can discuss clearly based on themes, and also help will readers or other people to understand the results of or outcomes of our study. When we code the data based on the different aspects. We may code through the use of descriptive coding system. We describe the particular segment or portion of data based on the use of a label, descriptive label, or we use particular other codes based on the structure. We use a structural based of coding system when we continue the data collection procedure or data analysis procedure. Even the area that we conduct our study, we focus on particular structures, and we code through the structures and structure-based coding. We code that like higher education transformation in a country step by step. When we try to transform the higher education aspects by the application of particular programs, we may use the structural coding style, or may use the value-based coding when we try to assess different aspects of actions and reactions of individuals based on the core values. We may use value-based coding, or we may use pure and just coding procedure. We use some particular codes to determine the different portions and segments of data based on a meaningful section to answer well our questions and our discuss based on our findings clearly. That's why coding is a very important aspect of data analysis when we analyze our data, especially in qualitative studies. And we have to code, and we have to use a very helpful and clear coding procedure to code based on the demands of our data and also based on the demands of our study. And also we have to follow the helpful and accepted structures and methods and regulations in the coding procedures. That's why when we collect a huge amount of data through interviews, through observations in different aspects of different data collection procedure in our qualitative studies, we have to code our data, and we have to produce or categorize our codes, and have to produce themes through the assessment of codes and categories if needed. Or in some studies, we just need to code, no need to categorize or produce themes. But always we don't have. Always we have to be careful that we don't have to fix our data based on the tools. But we always have to use the tools based on the demands of our data, because the real constructor of our calculation and the real important factor in our studies, our data or our results. That's why we have to use particular tools or processes based on our data, not to fix our data based on the coding procedure or tools. That's why we have to use the coding procedure very carefully, and we have to know that coding is an important aspect of data analysis and concluding the results in qualitative research projects. I am Dr. Abdul Qahar Sarwari. If you think such videos are helpful, please subscribe the channel. Thank you.